Welcome to this week's rant. In actual fact, this week is a Sunday after dinner rant because I have the vino, and it's a very nice vino as well. But you haven't come here to see me drink wine, even if it is rather good. So, before we get going, normal parish notices. Why haven't you clicked the subscribe button? Oh, seriously, guys, if you like what you see, click the subscribe button. If you want to be notified when I put content up on the channel, hit the bell icon. Consider supporting the channel over on Patreon. The address will be down here somewhere. That's www.patreon.com/themusictechguy UK. There's only one of me, and any donations are gratefully received. They will all support the running of the channel. We are still in COVID-19 lockdown, so remember, it's stay alert now. Stay at home, stay safe, wash the hands until Boris tells us not to do so. Now, back to the video. So this is kind of a bit of an unscripted rant this week. For several reasons. Number one, I didn't write the script. Number two, I sort of kind of thought I wasn't actually going to say anything this week because I didn't really have that much to say. And then a load of stuff turned up. So I'm kind of going to talk about a few of those. It's not going to be a really long rant this week. But first of all, sitting over here, just off camera, if I just move that out of the way, and if I just move the camera a little bit like that. So sitting that way, just off camera, is the SY85. Now, the good news is I have finished the restoration on the SY85. It's had a new battery in it. The power supply switch has been sorted. The power supply motherboard has been reattached to itself, and continuity. We've made sure the continuity works on that, so everything's all back and earthed, which is all good. The pillar that's underneath the power supply that I found had broken off as well. That's all been glued back into place, so that's all nice and strong now. We've changed the battery. In fact, actually, what we've done on the SY85 is we've upgraded the battery from the traditional Yamaha battery with the solder tags on it to a proper battery holder. So there's now a new battery holder in there, and a standard CR2450 battery. Yes, this doesn't take a standard CR2032 battery. It takes a bigger battery, which probably means it has more, needs a little bit more current to sustain it when it's off. Other things we've done, brand new disk drive's gone into this machine now. So whereas the old disk drive, I thought it was originally a belt issue, new belt didn't work, so we've got a new disk drive that's been put in there. That is completely confirmed as working. In fact, all the disk drive's been done. I will do a video actually of running through there is actually a diagnostic procedure you can run through on the keyboard that will test all various facets of the keyboard. We've gone through the diagnostics on the disk drive. It's fine. It is loading disks. So I received a whole bunch of disks when this thing turned up. So some of them are just handwritten. There you go. There's a handwritten one. And other ones, and I'm not quite sure what the difference is here. I've got a disc that says factory set. I've got a disc that says demonstrator. Yeah, there's a demonstrator. There's a factory set. And then I also have 4 other discs. And that's an SY85 disc, and I don't know where you can see that, but it says demonstrator at the back. On the bottom, that one also says demonstrator. So what the difference is between the pink and the what's that, sort of a petrol colour, isn't it? And then there's 2 black discs like that, and they both say factory disc on them, although this one says factory set B. So I have no idea what the difference is yet, but they do actually load on the keyboard. So I will do a demonstration of the keyboard and the demo songs on it, so you can actually hear what an SY85 sounds like when somebody who's got a bit of a clue about this keyboard knows what they're doing and can program it. The other thing we've done, or I've done, is I've tested both these memory cards. That one is fine. This one, on the other hand, is pushing out currently 0.03 of a volt, so that probably means the battery needs changing. And I will do a battery change. I'll show you how to do that. My problem at the moment is that I don't know where they have gone, but I had a pair of what I call circuit screwdrivers, and I've no idea where they've gone, but they've disappeared. I can't find them anywhere. So probably during the move they got mislaid, or they never actually arrived somewhere. But I need a very, very small screwdriver to get into that to change the battery, but I'll show you how to do that. So that kind of is the SY85. It's all up and running. So I've been through full diagnostics on the keyboard. As far as I can see, every key works, every button works, every slider works, disk drive works. And the final thing I did on this keyboard before I put it all back together was I upgraded all the memory. So now it is fully loaded from a memory perspective as well. So this keyboard is completely ready to rock and roll. And it sounds beautiful, I have to be honest and say. It really has that sort of sound of the 80s stroke early 90s in it. I mean, this was 1992, but you can tell it's got those sweeping pads on it. It is actually a very, very nice keyboard to play. So that was kind of the SY85, and there are videos now sort of starting to trickle into the channel about the final pieces. So the battery video went live. No, it hasn't gone live. It's scheduled to go live this next week, and then the other videos will follow on quite soon. They're currently in post. They're all sitting on the laptop, waiting to be edited down. For some unknown reason, I've been using this 2-camera setup, and I am going to have to look at the camera setups again, because the camera I'm recording this on here is working fine, and the audio works fine. The other camera, for some reason, I don't quite know why, decides when it wants to record audio and when it doesn't want to record audio, and it kind of makes it a little bit difficult to sync the video feeds up in post. The whole idea of this thing here was that when I start recording and I'm in a multi-camera setup, by hitting like that, you get a noise spike on the audio feeds and all the cameras, and therefore you can line all the videos up to the audio spike. And when my mouth moves, the audio comes out, because I use, obviously, recording the audio as well. But if the camera doesn't record the audio, that makes then there's no spike there. You're having to do everything by eye, so it's been taking a little bit longer to do. You know, things are sent to try us, but hopefully, if you guys support me and the Patreon funds build up, I can start looking at the camera setups again. I've just bought new lights, like these one here and this one here, which obviously just darkens me down, so the white balance on this one will probably go mad. It's quite funny when you run a YouTube channel like this, and it's about the music, it's about the technology of the music, but it's all the other excuse me, I shall cut that out. But it's all the other technology that is around you that you need to actually do it. So, I bought the mixer because I needed some way of making sure that sound was always constant, and that mixer now makes sure that sound is always constant. I bought a new adapter for this camera to make sure that the sound was being pumped into the audio correctly. I've got another adapter for the other camera that and these lights I've had to buy, which are much better than the lights I originally had. But it all sort of stuff to make this sort of work. You know, you don't. I mean, I'm way off sort of a Dr. Mix professional looking studio, but we are getting there. We are moving in that direction. Anyway, that's the SY85. Now, some other things have arrived in the last week. So this stuff arrived from America, and these are T1. There you go. Discs from Sound Source. And if you remember, I did a piece on Sound Source just after Christmas. But these came up, and there are actually 5 discs in this set. Open up the wrong end, of course. So if I just take them out like that, so there they are. These are the Korg T Series PCM samples rock kit, dance kit. These are all drum sounds. Gongs. There you go. Collins kit. Whoever Colin was. I work with a Colin. Wonder if it's his. And percussive FX. There you go. So they're all specific kits for the T1. I'll just make sure they're all right protected. They're all content protected now. I hope they've all been content protected. I hope. So I'll put those back in there. But they are the original Sound Source discs, so they will be going into the disc library, and we'll see what happens with those. We'll talk about those in a minute. Then I acquired this week. That's for that. That's for that. Some sound cartridges for the Yamaha computer, the CX5M. Now, this is the FM synthesis module. There you go. So that's a different. This is synthesizer unit 2. Okay, this is not the original. This is the one they upgraded. So my one has the original. This is the upgrade synthesizer module, and obviously the owner's manual that goes with it in very, very good condition. Quite rapt about that. So I'll be plugging my CX5M in to show you all what that sounds like. And then there is this one I've been after for quite a while. This is the YM506, and this is the actual programming module for the FB01. So that is the module they released on the MSX Yamaha computer for actually programming the module, the FB01, and it also comes with the original strip. There you go. So again, quite wrapped with that. So we should be having some fun when I can get the FB01 back, seeing what we can do with the modules. And then there is the YM02, which is in here, which is, again, there's the voicing module. These are very, very mint, these ones. And there's the overlay for the keyboard as well. There you go. There's the overlay and all the books associated with it. As you can see, it's still in its plastic mounting. Yep. And that goes in there like so. And then the last one is the Composer from the Yamaha series. This is the last of the Yamaha series cartridges, and again, this comes with, again, in a box with the keyboard overlay on it. There you go. So that's the Composer module, which I think is their terminology for the sequencer, if I remember correctly. And then we got this, which is a non-Yamaha module, which is for MSX computers, and this is the real-time sequencing and recorder module. There you go. Comes in a video cassette case, which was actually, funny enough, this was the thing back in the day. You know, this is video cassette cases got used for all kinds. This is a VHS case, got used for all kinds of things back in the day. There you go. So I have no idea what that's all about. So that should be interesting when we get that loaded up. And then these two things arrived, and so this is the FM voice filing system, whatever the FM voice filing system is. And I've rather snookered myself with this one because The program comes on one of these things. Now, you know, those of us who remember these things remember that you basically used to have to put these into a cassette machine and play the cassette machine into your computer. I mean, I come from the days of the Spectrum, and you know, I used to spend 20 minutes loading a game in right at the end of it, and it would just go. And the Commodore 64, we had a Commodore 64 as well, and we had an Atari ST, and we had a Commodore Amiga. But by that point in time, we kind of moved up to. I think we still had cassette players on both of those actually, but we did have 3.5-inch discs. By the time we got up to the Amiga, and then of course I threw all those discs away when I got rid of the Amiga. What can I do with them now? So that arrived, and then this one arrived, which is exactly the same, which is the 8-bit multi-timbral performance, and that's quite a big tape actually. I don't know whether you can see that actually in terms of there's a what's it say? There's about 40% there. Yeah, about 40% of the of a C90. So this was 1987. This was made. This was 1986. Anyway, of course, what that does mean is the fact that and there's the two manuals to go with them. So there you go. There's one and there's two. So two things. Number one, I didn't know that this publishing house was publishing software for the CX5M. So maybe I need to expand my scope. What's really interesting though is for these to work, you have to have the relevant modules. So for argument's sake, this has to have the SFG05 cartridge, which is one of these, for that to work. And this one here has to have either the SFG01 or the SFG05. And I've got both of them. That's the 1 and the 5's that one, I think. But in order to make these work, guess what I've had to go and buy? Well, I haven't bought yet because it hasn't arrived, but I've ordered. Yes, you're absolutely correct. I've had to go and buy a cassette machine because I don't own a cassette machine anymore. In actual fact, I think my last cassette machine I sold probably the better part of 15 years ago, because everything's gone MP3 and compact disc, and before that was compact disc and it's MP3. So I don't actually have a cassette machine. So my intention is what I'm going to do with these, and I'm going to play these into a MP3 device and record them, and then I can then play them back from my iPhone or my iPad into the computer rather than having to sort of wander around, because I'm going to have the iPhone and computer iPad with me, but the likelihood of me having the cassette machine with me all the time is going to be interesting. But it just amused me that these turned up, and I wasn't really expecting them to turn up. I sort of kind of was expecting the cartridges to turn up. I wasn't expecting two tapes to turn up, but we shall see what happens. So from me saying I wasn't going to waffle on for very long, I'm looking at the counter and thinking I've waffled on for far too long on this Sunday evening. So it is now time to say goodbye. I'll see you next time, and if you don't, live long and prosper. See you later. Bye.